So now you realize that electric automobiles are not like apparently what you thought they were like, and I think it's the right time to see how fuel powertrains and electric powertrains are differentiated at the same performance levels. So grab some snacks and let's go through a very interesting video. This is Pavan and I insist tech. Let's get started. Well, I have divided this video into 6 main parts. That is, I have differentiated these vehicles in 6 different ways. So let's start with the first one is energy source. The second one being prime mover, that is whether the vehicle runs on an engine or an electric motor. The third one being the transmission. The fourth one being efficiency and regen and cooling. The fifth one being cost and maintenance. And finally, the most important one, I guess, being environmental impacts. So let's start with the energy source for these vehicles. Of course, the energy source for the ICE vehicles are ignitable fuel sources like gasoline, diesel, etc. And these usually tend to have way higher specific energy values. That is something more like 12,900 watt hours per kilogram of petrol. But when you compare this to our batteries of this age, at least at their highest, their specific energy values go from around 250 watt hour per kilogram to 300 watt hour per kilogram. So by these numbers only you can tell that ICE vehicles carry a ton load of energy with them compared to the electric vehicles. Yes, the battery tech has a long way to go in terms of the sheer amount of energy that it can hold, but that's not the only factor you consider while differentiating or praising or criticizing any kind of automobile, right? Keep watching. Now you know about the energy sources that they use. So what moves them? Raw burning engines for gas-powered vehicles and those sweet torquey electric motors for electric vehicles. Send fuel-air mixture to the cylinders, ignite them, and boom, you have a high temperature explosion which causes the pistons to move. That causes the crank to rotate, which in turn produces power. And this power is sent to, say, your rear wheels or the front wheels or all the wheels depending upon the model of the car. This is definitely a powerful way to move your vehicles, and a lot of development has happened using this one invention itself. Adding turbochargers, superchargers and more to improve the performance to its max. But this engine tech is reaching saturation. There is a point where how much ever tuning you do, you can't squeeze more performance out of that one engine without compromising on structural integrity, or you have to play around a lot with the aerodynamics of the car. I mean, hypercars nowadays reach 0 to 100 kmph in less than 2 seconds, and that's legit crazy performance. Let's talk about electric motors now. EVs use either 3-phase induction motors or BLDCs or PMSMs. BLDC stands for brushless DCs and PMSMs are permanent magnet synchronous motors. These are one of the highest efficient machines ever made in technical history. They of course need electric current to run, and in most simple AC induction motors, usually the frequency is increased or decreased to either increase or decrease the speed of the motor respectively, or in these DC motors, usually the supply voltage is increased or decreased to increase or decrease the speed of the motor. The best thing about these electric motors is that you can get instant torque from them, literally from 0 RPM, which gives them an edge over IC engines. And all this power is sent to either the rear wheels or the front wheels or all the wheels depending upon the vehicle, again using just a single speed transmission. Nowadays, high performance electric cars even use dual or triple motors to run their wheels, which can give crazy amount of performance numbers. Now let's see what's with the transmissions. There are multi-speed transmissions and single speed transmissions. So while you need multiple gears in IC vehicles to either get desired torque output or a desired speed output, EVs don't really need a lot of gears. They can get away with a single gear transmission because they are very high revving and they can give you a lot of torque at very low RPMs and can reach amazing top speeds, yet being decently efficient. You would need an impossibly high revving engine to reach the same top speeds using just a single gear. So yeah, EVs don't really benefit from having more than a single gear transmission, so most manufacturers just don't care about it and can get away with having just a single speed transmission for most of their vehicles. Efficiency, cooling and regen. I think I've already stressed enough on how efficient these electric powertrains are in every possible way. These first of all consume way less energy to say run a kilometer of distance, hence costing you lesser money. That in turn will result in a lower daily running cost. Petrol or diesel engines are known to consume way more energy to move those pistons from the start itself. The thing that helps these IC vehicles to keep running with this kind of high consumption of energy is the energy density of the fuel. They have a way more quantity to work with from the start itself, but that also makes it way more inefficient, which results in excessive heat release when compared to the heat released by the EVs. But that doesn't stop both the type of vehicles from using generic cooling techniques. Obviously, internal combustion engines use a lot of consumables like engine oils and lubrications with huge radiators in their cars especially. Some vehicles even use liquid cooling as an addition for better cooling performance. Electric scooters don't really need a lot of cooling, so most electric two-wheelers just get away with a cooling fan or a small liquid cooling setup. But these electric cars might need a lot of cooling because they have huger batteries and bigger motors, so they might need larger radiators or a bigger liquid cooling setup for the batteries. But the frequencies of these cooling systems being activated in these EVs when you compare it to ICE vehicles is way too less, and that's what makes EVs so silent. One more thing is that you can't convert back that mechanical energy into fuel in ICEs so easily. So ICEs don't really tend to have regenerative braking systems built into it. You must install an electric motor and a battery to kind of get back that energy and use it, and that would obviously make them hybrids. But these fully electric vehicles have regen braking stitched into the design, where the vehicles can make use of the kinetic energy and preserve that energy in the battery and can use it later. Talking about the cost and maintenance, of course electric scooters or electric cars cost marginally more compared to the same level powered ICE vehicles, but yeah, the initial cost is high when you buy them because technically you're buying a lot of technology compared to ICE vehicles. You're buying a separate battery, you're buying a separate motor, you need intelligence to run those together properly. But the daily running costs of these vehicles are way more different. You won't be spending 100 rupee per liter of petrol to just go for say 40 to 50 kilometers in a scooter. You would be just spending like 3 to 4 units of electricity to run like 80 kilometers of your distance. So that might give you an idea of how efficient and how cheap these electric vehicles are to use on a daily basis. And also when it comes to the maintenance of these vehicles, EVs are low to zero maintenance. They don't use consumables like engine oils or any kind of lubricants. They don't need periodic services as such, like how your scheduled services are for IC vehicles. Yes, they do need servicing from time to time, but that's only for say the friction brakes or the shocks. And other than that, I don't think EVs need a lot of servicing like how these IC vehicles require. The final thing which I want to talk about and close this video are the environmental impact that these vehicles are having. So IC vehicles, of course, they have exhaust gases, they emit carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide and all other kind of filthy gases to the environment, which is bad. Even though the emission norms have become stricter and stricter, and nowadays even ICE vehicles are becoming kind of cleaner, nothing will beat the no exhaust, no silencer pipe, no exhaust pipe policy of EVs. You don't have an engine, so you don't get an exhaust pipe. There is no sort of gases emitted, just battery and clean electricity running the motors. But yeah, there is a debatable controversy around this, saying that the batteries which you power with your home electricity, the electricity to your home comes from a coal power plant or a nuclear power plant, which is harmful for the environment. Yeah, so this would be a topic for another video. Do let me know in the comments below if you want to hear about this debatable topic. Either EVs are completely clean to the environment or not. Apart from that, we come to the end of this video. If you have any more questions about whatever I made in this video, or if you have any more information to let me know, there's a comment section below. Feel free to let me know, or feel free to ask me questions there. If you ended up liking the whole video, do leave a like on the video, and if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. And as always, this is Pavan signing out.